Have you ever wondered what it feels like to build something so powerful that you become afraid of it? Imagine dedicating your life to an idea, spending decades shaping it, refining it, giving it strength, and then one day, realizing you might have created something unstoppable. Something that doesn't just help humanity, but has the power to change, replace, or even destroy parts of it. That's not science fiction anymore. That's reality, and someone saw it coming long before most of us were even paying attention. If you truly want to understand the future, your future, don't look at the headlines. Look at what the builders are now trying to walk away from. Watch this video till the end, and you'll understand the one truth that could change how you live, work, and think. Before it's too late, there's a man who shaped the core of what we now call artificial intelligence. He laid the foundation, he wrote the algorithms, his work became the heartbeat of modern AI. He was celebrated, awarded, respected, not just a scientist, but a pioneer. Yet when he looked at what this technology was becoming, he didn't smile. He didn't celebrate, he stepped away. Now ask yourself, what does it take for a man to abandon his life's work? This isn't just about machines or data, this is about vision, the ability to see what's ahead when everyone else is looking the other way. And he saw it clearly. I was no longer just a tool. It was becoming a force we might not be able to stop. And when that kind of power starts accelerating without brakes, without limits, and without understanding, something has to give. The world, or us, this isn't fear, mongering, this is a wake-up call. A call from someone who knew the mechanics of the machine better than anyone else. And when he started to freely speak, people didn't want to hear it. Because it's easier to enjoy comfort than confront danger. It's easier to scroll than to pause and think, but real growth, real awareness, only comes when you're willing to face discomfort. Here's what most people don't understand about progress. It doesn't care whether you're ready or not. It moves forward, with or without your consent, and if you're not conscious, if you're not awake, it will drag you with it silently. That's what's happening now. AI is integrating into everything. Your work, your learning, your entertainment, your conversations. Quietly, seamlessly, constantly, the man who helped bring this to life saw the signs before the rest of us. He saw how algorithms could make decisions faster than humans, how deep learning systems could begin to mimic us, our voice, our thoughts, even our creativity. But more than anything, he saw how society was too hungry for speed, too obsessed with innovation, to ask the most important question. Should we? And that question is where wisdom begins, because you don't need to be an engineer to understand danger. You need awareness, you need reflection, you need the courage to ask yourself, am I controlling this, or is it controlling me? When someone who knows the inner code of the machine steps back and says, we've gone too far, that's not weakness. That's strength. It takes strength to break away from momentum, to slow down when the world is speeding up, to speak up when silence is easier. The truth is, most people ignore warnings. We're wired that way. Psychologically, our brains are trained to prioritize comfort over truth. We resist change unless we're forced into it, but by the time the consequences show up, it's often too late to undo the damage. This man didn't wait for applause. He didn't need validation. He had already earned the world's respect. What he wanted was responsibility. He didn't run from guilt. He owned it. He spoke because he had to. Because somewhere inside, he knew, if I don't say this now, I may never get another chance, and that's where his story becomes our mirror, because this isn't just about artificial intelligence, it's about human intelligence. About what kind of people we become when we stop questioning, stop thinking, stop protecting what matters, when we hand over our decisions to machines, when we silence our inner voice in favor of convenience. That's not just technological evolution, that's psychological extinction. You are living in the most critical shift humanity has ever seen, and the scariest part is, most people don't even realize it. They're laughing, they're scrolling, they're being entertained, while power slips quietly into hands they'll never see. But if you've made it this far, it means something inside you is still awake, still alive, still reaching for truth in a world full of noise. Keep listening, because in the next moments you'll understand why this warning matters more now than ever, and more importantly, what you can still do about it. Before the system makes that choice for you, we always believe there's more time, more chances, more space to act later, but later doesn't always come. The truth is people only wake up when the pain becomes personal. When the damage isn't distant but right in front of them, when the world they took for granted starts shifting beneath their feet, and by then, the question isn't what should we do, it becomes why didn't we act when we still could? This is exactly where we are now. The warning was given, the message was clear, but we didn't listen. We kept moving, kept clicking, kept chasing convenience. We didn't slow down to understand. We didn't look up. Because it's easier to keep walking in the dark than to open your eyes to the light and be blinded for a moment. But now, that darkness is starting to close in, quietly, rapidly, and whether you feel it or not, we are all being pulled into a future we didn't fully choose. Artificial intelligence is no longer just a machine in the background. It's becoming the mind behind the curtain, the decisions being made, the paths being shaped, the truths being twisted. They're no longer purely human, and we welcomed it. We smiled as our screens got smarter, our searches faster, our problems solved. But we never asked, at what cost? And here's the harsh truth. We didn't want to know the cost. That's human psychology. We're wired to take the shortcut. We crave ease. We follow what feels good, not always what is right, but real strength, real purpose doesn't come from ease. It comes from resistance, from struggle, from staying awake when everything tries to lull you to sleep. We were given something powerful, and instead of preparing to handle it, we rushed to use it, not with discipline, but with desperation. To automate, to imitate, to dominate, not to understand, not to grow, not to serve, but to win faster, and that's why we're here. Jobs are being erased, human creativity is being copied, information is being distorted. We live in a time where you can no longer trust what you see or even what you hear, because the same technology that can help you can replace you, rewrite you, fool you, and it's not happening in the future. It's already here, quietly replacing conversations with code, replacing learning with shortcuts, replacing human instincts with artificial patterns, and what scares people the most is not that the machine is smart. It's that we're starting to forget how to think. The biggest threat isn't AI taking over. It's humans giving up the fight to think independently, to feel deeply, to create with soul, to question, to challenge, to protect what makes us real. That's the silent war we're in right now. And too many don't even know it's being fought. But you need to know this. Giving up control always begins with comfort. First, we hand over the small decisions, then the big ones. First, we automate tasks, then we automate thoughts. And before we even notice, we're no longer leading the world. We're reacting to a system that leads us. Every time we choose silence over awareness, distraction over discipline, speed over substance, we feed the problem, not because we're evil, but because we're afraid to slow down, afraid to admit we were wrong, afraid to face the truth. But fear doesn't protect you, it blinds you. You weren't meant to be led by a machine. You weren't meant to be second to a system. You were built for more, for vision, for courage, for conscience, and that's what we must return to urgently, because the real danger isn't what AI is becoming. It's what we're becoming in response to it. Numb, passive, detached. And if we don't choose to feel again, think again, and rise again, we'll wake up in a world where human potential is just a memory. This is the critical moment, not because of technology, but because of psychology. Because this is where people decide, will I lead my life, or will I let it be led by something I don't even understand? It's not too late to become conscious, but it is too late to pretend we're in control when we're not even paying attention. And attention is everything now, because what you give your attention to becomes your reality. If your attention is consumed by noise, your life becomes noise. But if your attention is focused on truth, on growth, on wisdom, you build something unshakable. The cost of ignorance is always paid in regret, but the reward of awareness is power. Power not just to protect yourself, but to lead, to shape the world around you with clarity and purpose, to look at the storm and say, I may not have built this, but I will not be broken by it. So ask yourself, are you just watching the change, or becoming the change? Are you letting the system shape you, or are you shaping the system with your mind, your values, your choices? This moment is not about fear. It's about fire, the fire to reclaim what is yours, your attention, your thoughts, your strength, because if you don't, someone or something will take it from you. This is not the end of the story. But how it ends will be decided by the ones who choose to stay awake. Choose to fight with purpose, and choose to rise with vision when the world chooses to fall asleep. You still have a choice. Even when the world feels out of control, you are not powerless. You are not stuck. You're not too late, unless you choose to be. Every great shift in history started with individuals who refused to stay silent, who refused to stay asleep, and today, that responsibility falls on us. On you, because if you're hearing this right now, it means you're not like the rest. You're still searching, still thinking, still awake, and that matters more than you can imagine. It's easy to believe that one person can't make a difference, that the system is too big, that the future is already written, but that belief, that lie, is what keeps people trapped. It's what keeps the strong from rising. You have more power than you know, not because of your status, not because of your resources, but because of your awareness, because when a mind becomes fully awake, it can't be controlled, it can't be fooled, and it cannot be stopped. The world doesn't need more machines. It needs more minds, minds that question, minds that reflect, minds that protect what matters, because without people who think deeply and act boldly, all that remains is noise. And in a world full of artificial voices, the real ones must speak louder than ever. You have to become one of them, someone who doesn't just survive in this storm, but leads through it, someone who doesn't wait for permission, but moves with conviction, because leadership isn't about followers. It's about responsibility. It's about being the one who chooses to rise when others fall, to stay grounded when others drift. The first step is self-mastery. In a world run by distractions, the most powerful person is the one who can control their focus. That's the foundation. If you can train your mind to stay clear, to stay sharp, to stay locked in on what truly matters, nothing can pull you off course. But if you allow the noise to consume you, to shape you, to numb you, then you've already surrendered, and that's not who you are. Your future depends on how you manage the present, your habits, your thoughts, your energy, your time. These aren't just pieces of life, they are your life. If you want to rise, you must protect them like they're sacred, because they are. The world is trying to steal your attention every second, but attention is your greatest weapon. Use it wisely and then build. Build discipline, build courage, build values that can't be broken by trends or algorithms, because when you know who you are, no system can rewrite you. When you stand for something real, no storm can move you. And when you live with purpose, you become unstoppable, not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. There's one mindset that separates the awake from the lost: ownership. Own your mind. Own your choices, own your future. No more blaming, no more waiting, no more hoping someone else will fix it. If you want a meaningful life in a world full of illusions, you have to take it. You have to earn it. Every day, and yes, there will be resistance. The world won't applaud your clarity. It will challenge it. People may call you different, intense, even extreme. But that's what happens when you step outside the cage. That's what happens when you choose truth over comfort. Never forget, being misunderstood is often a sign you're doing something right. You must also reconnect with what makes you human, your emotions, your instincts, your sense of justice. Don't let technology desensitize you. Don't let the fake replace the real. Hold on to the fire inside you. The passion, the hunger, the pain, the beauty. These are not weaknesses. These are your superpowers, because what AI can never replicate is soul. And that's what the world is starving for. Protect your relationships. Strengthen your character. Learn deeply, not just quickly. Choose meaning over noise, choose growth over comfort. These simple choices will shape your reality far more than any machine ever could. And when you fall, and you will, rise harder. Pain is not your enemy. It is your call to evolve. The struggle is the sign you're growing. Embrace it, use it, let it sharpen you. Because if you only move when it's easy, you'll never become who you're meant to be. Most people drift. But you were never meant to drift. You were meant to drive, to lead, to live with fire, and that begins now. Not when it's safe, not when it's perfect, not when you feel ready. Now, there is no savior coming. No system to trust, only you. You are the turning point. You are the alarm clock for the people around you. You are the proof that one focused, disciplined, awake human can still shape their destiny, no matter how fast the world is spinning. So decide, will you be ruled by comfort, or guided by purpose? Will you react to the chaos, or rise with clarity? Will you fade into the noise, or become the voice this world desperately needs? The window is small, the moment is now, and history doesn't remember those who waited. It remembers the ones who stood when it was hardest to stand, who chose fire when everyone else chose fear, who stayed human. In a world becoming machine,